outside the town of Evergreen, Colorado.
What we're doing here is a fuels reduction project.
9 members of Evergreen Fire Rescue are busy treating 16 acres or 6.5 hectares of wooded terrain.
What we're doing is thinning the trees, the fuels in between where I'm standing now and the road.
The road, Hans Scott explains, where he and his colleagues would initially set up should fire erupt on these hillsides.
Hopefully not having the fire spread through the community, but actually giving us a starting point where we can then address the fire at its smallest stage instead of having nowhere to start and then having to come up with a plan from scratch.
Reducing fire intensity
The biggest tool we have right now is chainsaws.
is the constant focus of firefighters in Colorado and all over the U.S. West.
Here in Colorado, there's no true off-season. It's a year-round deal.
Kind of a dire situation moving into the future.
Nate Beckman with the Colorado State Forest Service refers to wildfires that are becoming larger and more destructive. The result, he says, of a warming climate and a century of fire suppression that's caused fuels to build up. The goal is to make dense forests less flammable.
We're throwing everything we have at the issue, but we all fear that we're just one major event away from moving us back.
Colorado's 3 largest wildfires occurred last year, reflecting the urgency of the problem. Fire mitigation is a top priority for fire agencies, if it wasn't already. Ground zero for their concerns is the wildland-urban interface, like these foothills west of Denver. Homes are tucked in amongst trees, and not all residents appreciate the risk that poses.
It's not that they're not cooperative, but what it is a lack of understanding of our current conditions and what potentially could happen.
Beckman says forest management projects, large and small, on government and private lands, are aimed at creating a resilient landscape that can better withstand catastrophic fires. The lack of personnel and money for these jobs are among the challenges. One Colorado State report estimated a $4.2 billion backlog in forest thinning projects.
I would say the work that we're doing is relevant, but we're not doing enough of it. We need to increase our pace and scale.
Beckman says he doesn't believe in worrying, but the stakes are huge. The survival of watersheds and water infrastructure being just one. This painstaking work is critical.
All the small trees with blue paint, we're going to remove those and leave the bigger ones. Kind of a cluster pattern to give it a natural mosaic.
It's part of being prepared and being ready in an area of the country that could burn at any time.
Constantly training, constantly keeping vehicles and equipment and people ready to go for anything that might happen here.
Hendrik, Sybrandy, CGTN, Denver.